Okay, so I'm going to set out my stairs now using this plan as a guide, but we know that that plan isn't correct, and also probably that the stair isn't the best layout anyway, or doesn't have the best layout, mainly because it wraps around and goes over itself. It's a nice thing to do from a design point of view because it saves you space, but from a construction point of view, it adds a lot of complexity, and maybe also it means that you have to think about the headroom that you'd have within the stair itself, because the top flight is going over your first flight, so you have to think about the distances between the stairs while you're making the stair. Whereas normally all you need to think about is the headroom from your stair to the floor above or the ceiling that you're walking under. So that will make it easier if we don't have to wrap around and go over the stair as we're drawing it. So I'm going to adjust this a little bit and make it a bit different to what's shown in the plan there, and that will mean that in the first floor, this wall most likely can't be there. It'll need to come up a little bit. We'll need some more room. And so that may affect your design a little bit if you were planning on using this space. But you've still got plenty of room there. If we measure that, it's, what, 2 metres nearly. So by moving this wall, it'll be about 500, I'm assuming. That'll still leave you 1,500, which is plenty of room for a hallway. It's not really usable space otherwise. 2 metres isn't wide enough for a normal room, so that should be okay. Shouldn't affect your design too much. So back to the ground floor with image, and I'm going to set out a lot of those critical measurements that I want to work with, again using reference planes. So with the reference plane tool, before I even think about making my stairs, I'm going to establish firstly the size of this space that I've got to work with. So there we've got a corner of the wall, and I'm going to make an executive decision and decide that's where the corner of the wall is that I've drawn. So I'll most likely take this wall from that corner as well and just draw it slightly off what's shown on the drawing. So also I'm going to decide that my walls are going to be just 100 mil, not what's shown there. I think that's probably wrong anyway. So, well, yeah, you never know. Look, it could be just they're being too accurate. And they may be different thicknesses, but for presentation drawings, which is what you're doing, those things aren't that important. So, and I doubt they'd even notice if you went and drew every wall exactly the right size. Your design teachers are not going to give you any extra marks for that. So that's you know, going too far with the detail if you're thinking that way. So here I'll put in a reference plane, and then using the dimension there, I'll just make sure that is, well, okay, 100's not enough, so I'll make it 200. So I'm just trying to work with round numbers there, and yeah, I've brought that to the right, that's fine. So I'll do another one over here, same idea. So drawing from the corner there, and then I'll set it out again, 200. Nice round numbers, always with conceptual design. And then I'll do another reference plane down along the bottom edge, where I want the edge of the stair to be. Then I'm going to go a bit further. I'm going to put a reference plane along the edge of the other side of the stair, and I'm going to make that 1,000, because that's the width I want for the stair. But you can see there they've drawn something different. It's fine.
Okay, sorry, why did you do it on the walls, on the
Oh, just mainly because I don't want to have to draw the walls in yet. If we had the walls there, we probably wouldn't need that. But if we've got the walls, then it's going to be harder to see the stair and to work with everything else. So it's easier just to put reference planes in. Maybe, yeah, it might be easier, yeah. Yeah, that's right. So maybe if you've got those, yeah, the walls around the shaft there, could be easier to take them out and put them back in later. Yeah, it's easier to draw them. Up to you, yeah. But sometimes it's easier to delete them, and it doesn't take long to draw them in again. Yeah, it's pretty easy to draw 3 walls, yep. So here then we can see that The edge of the stair is there, not this line, I don't think. Don't know what that is. So yeah, we'll draw it there. And so that's where the edge of my landing should be. And again, I can change that measurement to 1,000. So it's a little bit off the plan, but we know that. And then coming up to here, where the stair is going to begin, I know that we need to bring that up more so that we don't have to have the stair going over itself. So I'm going to just draw the reference plane roughly, and I'll tell you the measurement. So it's going to be 260 and then, so 1,040. Okay, so that's because I want that to be 4 steps. Yeah, because we're using 260 as the tread. So 260 times 4. Okay, so then I'll draw another reference plane above that. And again, make it 1,000. And now maybe just tidy it up a bit and extend this one. And to make it easier to see what I've done, now I'll go back to the original ground floor plan. And you can see maybe how useful it is having these views that don't include those images. And then I can even tidy this up further so it's really clear to know what I'm looking at. So that's actually the way I've taught people to make stairs, even with the old stair tool. By drawing in reference planes and setting out the shape you want for your stair, it'll help you a lot. And then to go a little bit further, what will also help you is drawing at least the first step, or working out where the first step is going to be, again using a reference plane. Yeah, that's right. So here, let's work it out. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, we can actually go further because there's room for more steps there, and we want to get as many in as we can. So I'll say 6 would be good. Okay, so 6 times 260 is, what, 1560? So that's right, isn't it? 6, I'm sure it is, times 260. Okay, so that's, again, 6 steps. And then back to the, again, ground floor plan. So you can see there the sketch of the stair already set out. We don't need to put in the last step. Revit's going to take us to that. But the first step helps a lot because you need to know, where you're starting. What helps if you do. So there, even just to go a little bit further, I'll draw some more reference planes, this time marking the centre line. Because remember, that's what you use to draw the stair. So by making it... Oh, so by making it 500 from the edge, that'll be centred. So here I'm drawing centre lines for all of these flights. And then I'm going to keep tidying up these reference planes so it's clear what I'm looking at, and I can see each flight. Oh yeah, you're right, yep, there we go. So we'll fix that. There we are. So can you see how with that setup, especially now that you've had a go at making a stair, that's going to make it much easier to draw a new stair.
So there's 1, 2, 3. No.
That's right, there will be 3 landings. Yeah, I haven't done the next one yet. So, okay, so maybe going back to our calculations, we had, I've forgotten now, was it 24 rises or 26? 24. Okay, so I don't want to have to do the maths to work out how far that would be to the end. So I'm just going to have a go at drawing it. And Revit is really good in this way. It does the working out for you if you know what it's doing. So with the stair tool, I'm just going to have a go. If it doesn't work perfectly, you can always delete it and do it again. So all I'm changing here is the actual tread depth to 260. Oops. 24 rises is fine, and 1,000 for the width is fine. So now we don't have to guess where to start. I can start on that intersection, come across to the right, and stop on the next intersection. How much easier is that? Then I can go to this intersection and down to this one. And it joins perfectly, coming across, and then, right, so you can tell already, it's not going to need to go over itself. And that's really what I was trying to avoid. Okay, but now I don't really know where to click here to do this next flight if I want it to join perfectly with a corner like that. If I do it by eye, it'll work, I'll show you. So if I click here and then come up, it'll let me. But, and actually it's not too bad because it's pretty close to that reference plane, but the join there isn't perfect. Now, if you're happy with that, that would actually be okay. And you wouldn't lose any marks in the assignment if you did it that way. But I know some people, have OCD and want to do it perfectly. So I'm going to undo that last flight and then just show you can make reference planes while you're making your stairs. So I can draw one in to help me. So here we go, 500. And we know then where this next flight needs to start. So back to run, and then I can line it up exactly, and we get a perfect corner. It's only a minor thing, but again, might help you. So, yeah, that's right, it does. Yeah. If you talk to a carpenter though, they'll tell you that's still not the right way to build it, but it's pretty close. Yeah, it's still not perfect. So, now I'll select the stair, go to the selection box again, and that is better. It might not look hugely different, but it is much better than it was before. And then yeah, that's right. So this is the next level, and I'll do the second stair as well because it's much easier now that it's not going over itself. So we'll do the shaft. So back to the ground floor. No, it shouldn't be because well, they've got this door here. You're right, but that can't be right because the stair must have wrapped around. So yeah, they've just it's wrong in some way. There's some issue with this drawing.
So really, the opening will be on the side.
Here, yeah, just move it up to there. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lower ground, but
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. There's some major issue with these drawings, so I wouldn't worry if you have to change it. So I'm just going to put the door up here. It's fine. The stair has to have 24 rises, so, if it's... Yeah, I don't see how else it could come up. And then, again, so back to the ground floor, and I'll go and make a shaft. And this time, instead of just drawing a rectangle, also I will start with a rectangle still, but this time, just to make it a bit clearer, I might go around the railing. We can look at the adjustments to... yes, sorry, I'll do that quickly, so again, I'm just going to go from the outside of the railing so it's not confusing, and we'll worry about the railings against the wall later. So I've started with a rectangle, but then we want the floor to obviously finish along this edge of the stair. And then, even though in reality you could probably have the floor going over this first flight without a problem, I might just bring the edge of the floor there to the edge of that first step. Well, because that still works, it's not the most efficient. I'll show you, you'll see it in 3D. So when we finish this, pretty much, yeah, that's right, yeah. But if you're looking for extra floor space, okay, so there's the 150, I didn't even think about that, so it's no problem. It's good for you to see actually. I can select the shaft here, and then just in properties change that base offset. I'll make it 0 and you'll see it will work, but we can also bring it higher. If we want to make it a bit higher, that's fine as well. So then you can see what I mean by the floor being bigger. It could extend this way, that edge there, and we'd still probably get headroom for this flight.
how could you extend on slope that again?
Yeah. Only if you need to though. So you may not need that extra space. You'd have to go and edit the sketch, and then you can, yeah. Need it, yeah. Like that. So you can see there we've still got headroom, most likely. So I'll repeat that now for the next stair, and you see it's much easier. Now that it's not going over itself, it's nowhere near as confusing. And I can actually even use the reference planes as a guide for the next set of stairs. And it's often good when you've got a stairwell like this to draw the stairs over the previous ones. So I'm just going to repeat the process with the stair tool now. The reference planes are going to make it so much easier. With the first step, I'm just going to use the same point. Go to here. Oh, now watch out for this. It'll default back to 250 because that's the minimum. So make sure it's 260 first. And they're going a bit faster. I can just click on these points. And so you can see then why setting it out should help you a lot. It's not wanting to show me the reference plane because I did the last reference plane as part of that other stair, so I need to just draw a new one for this stair. And then I can draw the final flight in. And, okay, it does need to go a bit higher than I thought, that's all right. Oh, now there, sorry, it's let me go further than I wanted to. So I've done, you can see there, it tells me 22 plus 4. I only needed 22. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 too many. In other words, that whole flight.
You know, it tells you at the bottom when you're doing it as well, in a light grey.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, that's it.
One remaining left.
That's right, exactly. That's right, so yeah, and if you lose it, you just click on the run tool to bring that back. And that's going to work. So I actually need one more step, unfortunately, so I'll just do that again, but just with the 1. And there we are. So, what's going on there?
So how do you know there's only one?
Well, it's got 21, and so there. So, and you can see in properties. Yeah, look, it should be, but we do need one more riser. So, without the landing, we could put a landing in, but one more step would work. So, in fact, here instead of putting in a dog leg or a turn, I can select this flight now. I'm going to use this script and just stretch it across one step, and it'll extend it and make it 22. Yep.
So why do we need one?
Oh, because it needs 22 in total. And you can always check that in properties as well, so you can see their desired number 22. So that's how many we need. Yeah. So I'll show you that in section, because it can be a bit tricky. So in section now, then you can see the last step is exactly one riser below that floor or that level. It's a bit unclear because I haven't put a floor on that level yet. So I'll show you a really good trick. I've drawn the floor on this level. So I'm going to go to copy to clipboard and then paste, align to selected levels, and choose level 2. Yep, that's it. So now it's a lot clearer. You can see the step there finishing exactly one step below that floor. Don't worry about the riser there, that's just an extra thing. So maybe to finish it off, I'll just put a shaft in for that stair. So again, using shaft tool, and I'll do a rectangle over to there. And, well, that even would work. Okay, so let's have a look in here. I'll make the base offset 0 and worry about the top in a minute. So now, well, in this view, I can't see it because the section box is too low, but I can always select that, stretch it up, and you can see there we've got the stair coming up and hitting a wall, so I'll delete the wall, delete this one, and you can see then that the stair connects to a floor. That's the most important thing. The void is probably bigger than it needs to be. Well, it definitely is. Yep, that's fine. So here you can see. You could, yeah. So, but it's got to go up. You've got to have a void for this part as well. So it's up to you. You don't need to make the voids to the minimum. Sometimes it's better to have a bigger void than you need, and you do. Yeah, you get those extra things like you were saying. Light and other things are good, and if you're thinking about passive design principles, in other words, thermal control, it's an old thing. This goes back thousands of years, creating convection currents with shafts. And so they have it in lots of warmer countries. Exactly. So
like a ventilated skylight above them.
yeah, they have these towers that are throughout most of the Middle East and a lot of other areas as well, where they create convection currents. You've got to get the ratios exactly right, but having a shaft like that with a big wide area on the level that you're trying to ventilate naturally creates these exhaust currents which take the hot air out and do lots of natural air conditioning essentially.
So, is there like a minimum?
Oh, look, yeah, there are some guidelines for that. Otherwise, you've got to do some pretty detailed calculations. But how does it work again? It's 2/3 the height in your width. Yeah. So whatever your height is for the shaft that you've done, you can ventilate at least 2/3 of that. Yeah. But that's just a general rule. Otherwise, yeah, I'll find some others. There are some good general rules of thumb as well I've got for that. But this would naturally do it. You can just tell by looking. That's a pretty good shaft. And so if you ventilate that at the top, it would definitely give you some convection currents. Might not be perfect. But yeah, you get some natural ventilation.
Danny, will this be made into a video?
I'm recording right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yep. That's all right. So there you go. So that's a better way, I think, of doing this stair. And so maybe, though, to finish it off and show you something a bit more interesting, I'm going to select one of those stairs. It's timber. So let's try one of the cast-in-place stairs. Monolithic is basically a concrete stair. And that's how easy it is. You can just change them. Do it after you've made it. It's going to be a bit easier. So there we are. The way it connects is a little bit different, so we'll come back to that. So we'll try precast stair. And you can see then, you've got some differences with the risers. Yeah. So, yeah, that's why I wanted to show you that at the end. But here, I'll set it back, and that'll fix the riser. I'll show you how to fix that if you want to use a concrete stair. But I just wanted to show you where those different kinds of stairs are over in properties. And, yeah, so you should be able to use that as well. But start with the basic one, the assembled stair. And that's what we've been doing. So that should work. And, yeah, so after you've drawn the stair, it might be easier to come back and put the walls in afterwards.
And then we would remove the radius.
Yes, some of them though, yeah. Look, normally, that's right, yeah, and I'll just show you that as well. So when you select a railing, you can delete it without deleting all of the stair. And that would be fine in many cases, but here we want to just take parts of it out, so I'll have to show you how to do that. Yeah, but that's good. So, yeah, let me know if there's anything you're not sure about or any questions. Otherwise, yeah, or just, yeah. You good? Okay, so I'll finish the video.